Krista, and this is my big sister Stacey.
And this is Sister Social Call. Hey, Sissy.
Well, hello there, sister. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Can't complain.
For our listeners, you can't see this, but Chrissy is recording the podcast, and little Monty, her brand new kitten, is literally passed out on her shoulder.
You can see him up here.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Anyhow, okay, you guys, before we get this episode going, we just wanted to check in with you all and remind you that our first merch drop, the order is going to have to be put in by the 17th at midnight. So when you guys are hearing this, you have 2 days left to get your orders in for the merch. There's women's tees, men's tees, and unisex hoodies on there, but get whatever you feel comfortable in wearing. So be sure to get those orders in ASAP because this is helping to continue to produce Sister Social Call. So all the money generated from the merch drop is going to be going back into everything we need for making this podcast happen. So shop away and support your sisters.
Awesome. Well, let's get this started. As we always do, we want to welcome all of our listeners back to Sister Social Call and say a special hello to all of our new listeners.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to the show, and welcome back to all of you that are continuing to follow along with us.
In this episode of the podcast, we are going to be talking about a topic that impacts every person with an X chromosome, every woman. We are talking about perimenopause and menopause. Chrissy and I have talked about this topic in previous episodes. I shared my story in episode 5. This is now episode 75, which is crazy, but
My gosh, that's wild.
yeah. And we read The New Menopause by Dr. Mary Claire Haver as part of our Slow Readers book club. But tonight we thought we would just give you guys updates on our life in our perimenopause and postmenopausal journeys. So I'll start. So to bring folks, listeners up to speed, I'm 45 years old, but when I was 37, I was diagnosed with primary ovarian insufficiency. I was fully menopausal at that age. And so I've been postmenopausal now for 8 years. When I had that diagnosis, I had no idea that I had gone through perimenopause. I had an IUD. And I did not have a period for many, many years. And I did have other symptoms, but honestly, there was just so much crazy shit going on in my life leading up to that diagnosis that I just chalked it up to be stress. Had no idea. It was only actually when I was reading The New Menopause by Dr. Mary Claire Haver that in that book, she has a list of symptoms, and I checked off 25 of the 66 symptoms. That's actually when I realized how bad I had actually like I just had no idea or how many symptoms I actually had and have some still to this day. I was so young to be going through menopause. I had no girlfriends going through perimenopause with me. Actually, honestly, most of them were still having babies. I had one coworker at the time that was going through perimenopause, but man, in hindsight, she really did it with a lot of grace. And the other part of this is it's only been in the last couple of years that we've really seen a huge body of work start to be mainstream, and influential researchers, doctors, and journalists are really sharing information widely and publicly on social media. So I feel like I have a lot of experience with menopause now. And I'll share some of what's been going on since the diagnosis and what I've got going on now. But I'll turn it over to Chrissy to share a little bit about her perimenopause journey.
Well, honestly, I'm still very much in the very beginning stages of it all. And the only reason my doctor even suggested that I was in perimenopause was I had a physical done. So like some things changed in me. One being the dry vagina, which has never been a thing, and now it was. And so that was not cool. And instantly put on vaginal estrogen to help that out. And the other thing too is that I was experiencing some pretty heavy mood swings at this time when this was all going on. So it was like I could be happy and then I was feeling sad and then I was angry or frustrated and then, just I could just go from 0 to 60 in just such a short time, and that's very quite uncharacteristic of me, I would say, at this point in my life. That's not very common of me to have these pretty big swings. So I was a little concerned about that. I'm mostly concerned about the people in my life around me because I'm a force at the best of times, let alone put in some serious hormonal imbalances. Like, my goodness me. So that was kind of the start of it. And that was when my doctor said, yeah, you're definitely in perimenopause. Like, you're at that point. And of course, because our family has a history of premature perimenopause, I guess, they had reason to. Like, of course, it's just like, oh, well, this is what happens with the women in your family. Anyways, I'm just starting. Like, I haven't even, I think it was last week or the week before, I had 3 really incredibly crazy hot flashes. First thing in the morning, I was just, wow, like sweating, hot flashes. But in total, I've only had 4 hot flashes so far. So I'm not really experiencing a ton of symptoms of it. And even my cycle is, for the most part, is still very regular on schedule. The odd time I'll get it, I'll get it every 2 weeks for, say, 6, 8 weeks or something. Like, it'll happen like that. And then it'll just like, boop, be back to normal. So I honestly haven't even really started to experience anything crazy comparatively to what you experienced. And now I know, like, because we read that book, The New Menopause, I really know what to look for and the symptoms that I could potentially be experiencing. I really don't have them yet. So I'm a slow burn into this part of my life, I think. So a little bit different than you, sis, for sure.
Have you noticed any changes in your cognitive function at all, or forgetfulness or brain fog?
I honestly have struggled with that quite a bit for such a long time that I don't know if it's perimenopause or if it had to do with the substance abuse that I've had in my life. I don't know what to attribute it to. I've always struggled. What about you? How's your memory? Because I know there when you were perimenopausal, you felt like you were struggling with that, and then now that you're postmenopausal, do you think that's kind of come back a bit? And you're on
Uh,
hormone replacement therapy, so do you think that's back to normal or fairly normal?
I would say fairly normal. And Chrissy definitely shared a little bit about my journey. Brain fog for me was the most debilitating symptom for me. I am a researcher. I've had important jobs that require my brain, and my brain is my money maker. And when it started to fail, like I couldn't remember things and I couldn't understand concepts anymore, absolutely destroyed my confidence in my workplace. And I wish I would have known. Again, in hindsight, everything's 2020. I wish I would have known what was happening at the time and that it could have been easily solved with some medication and sleep. So, yes, uh, definitely my cognitive functioning is, I would say, almost back to normal. One of the things that I have added besides hormone replacement therapy is actually creatine. It's very good for your brain.
Well, I should maybe get on the creatine then. I never take that stuff.
But it's one of the most researched supplements on the market, and it is very good for your brain. And if there's anything that I really want to preserve is my brain functioning. I want to ward off as much Alzheimer's and dementia as I possibly can. And there's great evidence of how good it is for the brain.
Does the body naturally produce its own creatine?
Not enough,
I
not
haven't
even
researched
close.
this at all. That's not really my jam.
Yeah.
How come it doesn't produce enough? Our whole life it doesn't, or just when we start to go through menopause and perimenopause, it starts to not produce as much as it used to because our hormones are fluctuating.
Um, I do not know the answer to this, but I can quickly look it up.
Like, up until this point, are we producing enough creatine in our body for what it needs?
A quick Google search says that our human body naturally produces about half of its daily creatine requirements, and it doesn't say anything about aging. I,
Interesting.
I would need to do significant more research before I could answer that with a fulsome response.
Fair enough.
Anyhow,
Maybe I need to try that out. I just have never really I don't know. I think we can just get such a rabbit hole of taking supplements that it's sometimes becomes a little over. It becomes a little much, I think, sometimes. So I try to steer clear from too many because I always believe that our body naturally produces what it needs if we're supporting our body in a healthy way. So, eating the right food and drinking water and staying hydrated and electrolytes, whatever, all that kind of stuff. I always think our body should be functioning, but if it's not going to produce enough, maybe I need to get in on that program.
Hmm. Well, you can also talk to your family doctor about it.
Well, I've had some instances with her already where it's like I've had to just tell her, listen, I'm not a pill popper. I prefer to do things, with food and supplements, supplements before being put on a medication. So getting natural health advice from her isn't the easiest thing to do. But anyways, you just have to ask and be the squeaky wheel. And so yeah, I'll have to look into that. But I know our gym out here sells creatine, so I should get some.
If you're educated, which we are trying, you'll be able to probably navigate these tumultuous waters a lot easier. Like I said earlier, I just wish I would have known what was going on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just had this conversation with a client today that was in when we got talking about like menopause and perimenopause, and she would be in her 70s, I'm guessing.
Mm.
And so she was talking about how there was nothing available for women in her
Uh-huh.
generation at all as far as like menopause went. And so for her, she said like a lot of people she knew, well, people just said, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. And women would end up in the psychiatric unit because they were crazy and nobody really, and God forbid you talk about menopause or even sex for that matter. These were all taboo topics to even talk about. So we've come quite a long way. I said to her, honestly, being somebody that's about 30 years younger than you and going through perimenopause myself, I said, I actually think nowadays there is quite a bit more information available to people if people choose to want that. But
Uh-huh.
also, when I talked to my family doctor about this last year, I think it was last year that I did this, did the pap test. But anyways, she had told me that when she was a med student, they don't even teach you about menopause. And she's from South Africa, so I imagine that's where she did her schooling. But that wasn't even a topic that they were taught about. Anybody that learned or in wherever she went to school, and I'm assuming this is most doctors in general, but anything they wanted to know about menopause, they had to take continued education on it to become educated on that.
It's wild to think about because half of your roster of patients, half of the population is going to go through this change in life.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it's just we can go way deep far back into this is a man's world and we talked about this in our women's group. Oh, women um their cycle and all that kind of stuff. It was really stifled. Like women weren't celebrated. Their moon cycles weren't celebrated in history. So we're still trying to come out of that. And we got a long way to go still, but it actually isn't surprising to me, especially in the world of like a medical doctor. Think it's still like a fairly male. I think it's probably changing, but I think there's still quite a bit of like a male dominance in that industry and profession. And so or even in the curriculum, however many years ago it might have been created or whatever, and maybe hasn't just been updated to change with the times. But I'm sure now with all these like Dr. Marie Claire Haver and all this information that's coming out on the internet, I'm sure that it's going to really propel things as far as education goes and as far as changing things because people want to know and people are going to find out their own information and they're going to do their own we can get the information ourselves now. AI,
Yeah. Yeah.
we can have it at our fingertips. I mean, and it's such an open conversation now with women because I mean, today I was talking to a client in her 70s. I'm 43.
Hmm. We've only started to have conversations with mom about it now, seriously, because we're going through perimenopause and post.
Yeah.
we knew that mom was going through menopause or perimenopause when we were growing up. And I think, like I've said before, I think it's a cruel joke of society that you have mothers going through perimenopause and teenagers living in the same house. That's not okay.
It was quite the time for
It,
us. Yeah,
it
we had
was.
some ups and downs.
But now I think we can have open conversations with mom about her experience. For me, it helps me inform a little bit about how I want to like care for myself as I age. In this postmenopausal life, I've had fits and stints of gym life, but it has been in the last 2 years where my commitment to the gym is no longer about being skinny. It's about being strong and giving myself a fighting chance at warding off osteoporosis and making sure that I can get up and down stairs and mountains now. That is what I care about. Mom has osteoporosis, and I definitely don't want that because a broken hip has very startling statistics about life expectancy after a broken hip. So I'm definitely about getting strong. Um, what else is going on in my postmenopausal journey? I still have lots of symptoms. Some days I find my joints can be quite stiff, and it's different than the workout aches and pains. And so that's always interesting. And I try to think about what happened the day before, what types of foods I might have eaten to like trigger some more inflammation in my body. And that's, why I haven't really spoken too much about this on the pod, but I stopped drinking in November because it was during World Series, and there's lots of evidence in the research coming out about how hard alcohol is on postmenopausal women. During the World Series, I think it was a Wednesday and a Saturday games, or Thursday and a Saturday. So I had 2 beers each of those nights, and my hands were in excruciating pain. Like my joints and all my fingers and my wrist was just so painful that was it. I'm like, I don't need to have beer and be in that much pain the next day anymore. So that's been an interesting journey.
That's huge for you, sister. I mean, I think it's huge for everybody. It's very cool to see, to even like talk to you about that and to see like the direct results fairly quickly of what changed in you not
Yeah.
drinking. But I mean, of
Yeah.
course, it's an inflammatory, and it's toxic. It's like poison. So I have such funny feelings about. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it all aligns with you, and I think that's great.
Yeah, and I had blood work done a couple weeks ago, and the inflammatory markers are actually improving. So that's nice. That's great.
Very positive. That is awesome.
Yeah. This one, most of our listeners will know because I've talked about it recently, but I started to spot, and not unlike Chrissy, just there's, our poor vaginas change as we go through menopause.
The Sahara Desert. Why does that happen?
Well,
It's like everything dries up though. Your hair dries, your fingernails, your crotch, your skin,
everything.
your eyes, you name it, you're freaking dry everywhere.
Yes. So this is an update. My doctor gave me badge estrogen, and I've actually wanted it for quite some time. So I'm happy. What else is going on? Hot flashes. Still get them even after 8 years of being postmenopausal. However, they're not nearly as severe as they were when I was perimenopausal. So that's good. Can be a little warm sometimes. And this next symptom, unwanted hair growth in the wrong places, like getting a beard, like getting whiskers. Oh my God.
Mine are the most, yeah, I'm definitely getting more. I get them too in my cleavage. One of them they used to be like soft and black, whatever, so you could see them. Now one is coarse and white, and I never notice it till it's like a dagger out of my chest. And I'm like, God. And then I get them, like, I have some moles, so they get these dark hairs under my chin. Like, there's a few like spots where it's just like, are you? And I think it's karma. We used to bug mom, and now here we are, getting all the same chin hairs she was plucking. And we're like,
Oh,
mom's plucking her chin hairs. It's like, here we are plucking our chin hairs.
yeah, 100%.
Oh, and like my leg hairs. My leg hairs. they grow so fast and so dark. I could shave every 2 days, and I hate hair on my legs. I hate it. I'm just like, Mom.
I couldn't give two shits about hair on my legs. I'm going to move on from hair.
Yeah, let's go on from here.
Yeah, you could talk about hair forever.
Oh, yes. Hairstyles, whatever, you name it. Yeah.
Yeah. I have taken to a vitamin stack though to help with menopause. And so this is not medical information. This is just some things that I've started to take to help me. Don't take what I'm taking as like a gold standard. It seems to help. So I'm taking B12, not related to me being menopausal, although anemia, it does come along with whether it's iron deficiency or B12 is a symptom. I was looking at it today in my new menopause book, but I do take B12 because I cannot absorb it whatsoever. I take omega-3s because I want my joints to feel good. I take vitamin D3, and I recently increased my dosage each day because people in North America it's the sunshine vitamin. So people in North America are always very deficient of it. And I added a K2 vitamin with it because you need the K2 to help absorb the D3. But let me tell you that increasing D3 has improved my sleep so much. It is amazing because it helps with serotonin and melatonin production. So that's been amazing the last few weeks. And then I'm taking the coenzyme 10 to help with my heart health. And that kind of came about because Christy and I were talking about her recent medical tests, and that was one of her doctor's recommendations is the coenzyme 10. So I'm giving that a whirl. But yeah, and other than that, I'm still on hormone replacement therapy. I will be increasing my patch shortly on my next set. And and just the badge estrogen is new. Oh, I should probably update people on this. I had a DEXA scan last year and that was for bone density tests. And so I thankfully have a very normal for my age results in my bone density test. However, I am going to Calgary on my way back from Regina. I'm going to stop in Calgary and I'm going to have a DEXA scan for body composition. I'm not losing any weight. I'm not gaining of weight, but I'm not losing weight. But I work out several times a week, at least 3, sometimes 4, and I walk almost every day now. I would consider my eating reasonably healthy, although I love treats. But anyways, I want to understand my muscle, how much muscle I have, and I really want to know about fat, but mostly if I have a lot of visceral fat, because that's the bad fat during menopause. So I want to try and get an understanding of that before I start tackling the weight issue. But it's not about being skinny for me. It's about being strong. And I look forward to understanding that a bit more. Yeah. Anyways, anything else you want to share about your perimenopausal journey, Sissy?
I don't think so. I think the only thing that is a bit of a concern in my perimenopausal journey was that my cholesterol was high, but I also love really rich food. So I've had to chop that out a bit. So I have to go for blood work next Thursday. So I'm curious to see what's all going to come about with that. Honestly, it's just at this point in life, I prioritize myself in every way possible. So my health is very, very of most importance. And so, if I'm not feeling very good, I tend to kind of know what I'm doing wrong and I know what kind of fixes that. So as far as like the perimenopausal journey goes, so far, I don't really think I have too many symptoms to even move forward with anything as far as like any HRTs or anything like that. Like I sleep like a rock. Every night I'm a stone. I just sleep like maybe one day before I get my cycle, I'll be wide awake and I can't sleep. It happens every time. It has for years. But as far as like for the most part, I am a sleeping champion.
When that changes, that might be a good indication that things are changing in your body.
Yeah, if it ever does, right? So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's two people that are the same as far as their journey goes. I mean, our grandma, everybody, like Mom says, like our grandma didn't even really have any symptoms. She never alluded to anything and was always kind of on a steady, kind of even keel. Well, was even as Granny was. But, so, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, yeah, I don't know. And who knows? But I've experienced some really emotional whirlwinds in my life thus far. So I hope it's no worse than anything that I've gone through already.
Fair enough.
But yeah, anyways, that's pretty much it. But I did have a couple questions I wanted to ask you about just like your menopausal journey. What would you say is like the most challenging part of being postmenopausal in your life at this time?
I think I'm still just trying to figure out my body at this age, which is a really strange place to be. It's not that I feel like it's that I'm an enemy of it, but I don't understand why I don't feel like it's changing for all the work that I'm putting in and the care that I'm, the food that I'm eating. And anyways, it just, that part is kind of frustrating and they don't really see it other than I can tell that I'm getting stronger because I have metrics that show that, right?
Mhm.
But my body just doesn't reflect it that much. And like I can feel muscles, I can sort of see some definition coming in, but
Oh yeah, you're getting pipes, sissy.
yeah, a little bit. So that's why I'm really looking forward to because seeing the DEXA scan results, because I might be just of that body type that I may never be able to see the results of hard work, right? We might have just different body composition in our genes. I think we've seen pictures of our grandmothers on the Ursulescu side, and when Mary was a hardy babe, our grandma,
Mhm.
like hardy farm women. So that just might be our genetics. That's okay. But I do want to make sure that some of those, like the visceral fat, which is not good to have around your organs, is minimized, right? And I'm okay with as long as I'm healthy otherwise. Anyhow, so that just kind of still trying to figure out my body.
Okay. And one more question I have for you is how long will you take HRTs for? Like you've been on them for a long time already.
Hmm.
So at what point is there a time frame that you will stop, or is this something you can take all the way till end of life? Like I don't know much about this because I'm not there yet in my journeys.
My family physician, when I went on HRT at the time, so I was when I'm 37, so that was 8 years ago, said maybe we'll look at me coming off of HRT during natural menopause. Like so around 50, 51. So I got lots of years ahead of me still. But right now I feel like there's a lot of science coming about the benefits of estrogen hormone replacement therapy, and I will go stay on it to reap as many of those benefits for my heart health, for my memory, as I possibly can. I think we're going to be around this earth for longer than we think, and I would like to be try and age with as much grace in my mind as possible. So if I can do anything to help that along and it might be taking HRT longer, I'm okay with that.
You're here for it.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, those are all the questions. Those are the few questions that I had about this for you for this pod.
All right. Well, then I guess we should move into our peaks, pits, and plans.
Should we? Are we there?
Yeah. I started last week, I believe. Yes, I did. Why don't you go first this week?
Okay, well, a couple things. Not really so much pits, but I don't know. There's like I have a story time funny, and that's kind of like an ick as opposed to a pit. An ick instead of a pit. I like this, but also on the 7th of June, me and Stacey were talking about this last night. It was 1 year anniversary of our Auntie Jean's passing away. So bless her soul. But just thought I would touch on that. But anyways, so here's now my ick instead of my pits. I'm not going to tell the whole long convoluted story about it, but because some people that listen will know who this person is if I tell the whole story. But on Friday night at 12:05, while cozy in my bed, in my jammies reading my book, I get a text message. Yo, what's up? Well, if you guys know, if you ever been single, this is a booty text message. I'm not fucking interested, okay? So I'm putting it out there. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, no. So I didn't reply because while that maybe would have been okay 7 or 8 years ago when I was single, it is absolutely not okay. And I don't even know what I have given off to make this person think that was even fucking appropriate. So that's my ick for the
Refer
week.
to episode on Can Men and Women Just Be Friends?
Yeah, we're going to start to, our answer's going to start to change, I think, a little bit. We might have some more information on that. Call me old, call me crotchety, I don't know, but like, I was very put off by that. So there's my ick for the week. Pits, icks, peaks, and plans. Oh my God, I think we have to add a new segment in.
Add ick?
Pits, icks, or pits or icks. Pits or icks, or pits and icks, peaks and plans. There's some icks that happen from time to time. Don't you ever get that?
Well, I definitely do not get booty calls at 12:05.
Booty text.
Yeah, I don't get a booty text at 12:05 from my husband. Maybe some D in the B, but not a text message at 12:05.
I'm appalled. I told a couple people about it. They're like, yeah, not surprised. Just like,
because they know the person, or because like that's just dudes.
I think a little both. A little call me, a little comby. So anyways, doesn't matter. There's a little juicy juice for y'all. Anyways, on to my peaks, because there's loads of peaks. I wish you guys could hear, but for the whole podcast, pretty much. Monty, my goodness, kitty. Could you hear it?
Yeah, you can go back. There is a little bit of purring I can hear.
Yeah, he's just humming along here this whole time. He's sitting on my shoulder, just purring away. He's so happy. So Monty, I picked him up last Thursday, and he's been with us for just about a week now. And Tex is finally starting to figure out that, hey, this is somebody I can play with. He's not an enemy. So he still gets very jealous anytime Monty's by me, but we're doing okay. So shout out to Brittany Nemi, I think is her last name. She's got her own private rescue. That's where I got Tex from. It's a local, she's just outside of Regina. It's a local rescue. So that's where I got my little guy from. And Bree, who was his foster mom, she was awesome. So shout out to those peeps. Okay, another thing that was a peak is that a client of mine, Karen, well, I would say friend too. She's an avid listener. So hi, Karen. We're speaking of you. Anyways, she's moving and she has all these perennials at her house. So she was totally cool with me coming over and digging up a bunch of these perennials because, of course, you guys know that I'm perennialing up my yard. And then I was going to help the neighbor and do some perennials in his yard as well. But he actually had somebody else help him out. So anyways, I just got all these perennials, which is amazing because, as you know, perennials are expensive. And I love getting perennials from people that you know and love, because then when you go in your garden, you always think of them when you see them, right? Like I have my rhubarb bush is from my ex-husband's grandparents. Well, they were lovely people. So I have that. And then I have an iris that's from his aunt and uncle out in Okotoks, who I absolutely adored. And, Marlene and Gil, like absolutely love them and totally think nothing but amazing things about them. So I still have this iris from them. And then I just have like little plants from lots of different people. And so it's cool to have them and to tell the story. So now I have some Karen plants in my yard, which is cool. On Saturday, I really hammered it out and got my deck just looking so awesome. I got my new patio set all set up. And T-Sac, I needed a drill to put some new screws in my deck. So T-Sac came over, brought me a drill, and then he actually did like a section of my deck for me. So that was really nice of him. And I took him for supper after that because it's just, I have such a hard time asking people for help. I always feel like I owe people something. And I do think if somebody does a favor for you or helps you, that it's like nice to return the favor or to like, buy them flowers or take them for dinner or whatever. So that was really nice of him. So thanks, T-Sac, for helping out and bringing me your drill. I FaceTime him. I'm like, why is my drill not working? Yeah. And he's like trying to tell me on FaceTime. And then he's like, do you need a drill? I'll just bring one up. He literally lives like, I would say maybe if we could walk through the yards, he'd be like 3 houses away. So anyways, that was really awesome of him. And then on Sunday, this is kind of like emotional as well. But on Sunday, I went to the ranch. It's the first time I've been out to Mark's place since the fall. Yeah. Since the fall, I haven't been out there, and there were some things that I wanted to grab from there. There was some flower pots, big ones that were my grandma's. I really wanted to get those. I wanted to see if there was any perennials. I wanted to see my calf my cow, because she had a calf. So I really wanted to see her, and she still remembered me. But I also wanted to see Mark. But I also knew deep down in my heart that that would likely be the last time that I go out to Horse Lake Ranch, unless Mark got a hold of me and said he needed help with the cattle or something like that. Like, I just don't think I'll be going out there to hang out. And so it was kind of one of those things where I was really happy to go, and it was really great to see Mark. He took me for a drive out to the cows and out to the pasture, and it feels so easy and just natural, and it was awesome. But it's like one of those things that it's like, I think I need to like kind of have that little bit of like cutting of the cord there a little bit. Not that I have plans to move on, but it's just that I think I need to do that for my healing and moving forward in my life. And so it was, I got home and I was so exhausted, I think emotionally, that I passed out. Like, I fell right the frick asleep. Like, I couldn't even hardly keep my eyes open. It was unreal. So that's how, the body is something else. But so that's a thing. But I told Mark, he's like, welcome to come down here anytime he wants to come for a visit. Like, where I'll always talk and whatever. But that I don't think I'll be making that trip out to Horse Lake Ranch. So that was big, big time. And then another peak of mine was that I had another awesome horseback riding lesson on Monday. I am already doing things I didn't even know I could do, like trotting around all the barrels. I didn't know I would be able to do that. Like, this is only my second lesson back. I was trotting around the barrels.
I know you're going to be racing soon.
Oh my God. I think I'm going to get addicted to it. I just felt so like when I was going around them, I just wanted to go faster.
That's
I
fun.
know. And I've never loped on a horse yet. So I was like, but I wanted to. I was like, let's light this up. Let's go. But I don't have the skills to control a horse yet that goes fast. So that's a problem. Like, I could see this becoming a thing. So we'll see how the lessons go. I did say I would absolutely do one barrel race in my life for sure, because I would
Woo-wee.
love to do that. Yeah. Like, they're just jackpots. So it's just for fun. Like, just to say that I've done it, because I'm all about that. So I'll let y'all know when that's happening. It won't probably be for a year or so, but you guys can come cheer me on
Yes.
if that happens. Okay. Anyways, my plans are very minimal this week. I don't have really anything on the books, which is amazing, because I want to be working in my yard, getting it all just dialed in. Like, it's already starting to look so good. It's raining like crazy here this week. So I'm going to have to cut grass and weed whack. Like, it's going to be crazy, but I got to work on weed control. The dandelions are nuts. Like, I almost have more dandelions in my grass than I have grass. So I got to work on that project, and just, yeah, weeding and keeping everything kind of in check. But that's it. And if the sun comes out, I'm going to be laying on my sectional patio set and really relaxing. And then on Monday, I'm golfing with my friends Ada, Lori, and Jolynn. We're going to go for a round of golf, which will be my first round of golf this year. So I'm excited to get on with that, because that's part of what I want to enjoy a little bit more this summer too, is a little bit of golf. So
Excellent.
that's my whole scoop there. What about you, Sissy?
Okay. Well, pits. I don't have any. It was a good week. Peaks.
Lovely.
I'm not sure if this is a pit or a peak, but I think it's a peak. Anytime I get to talk to Zena, it's always a peak. The reason why it's like a little bit of like one of those. We had a conversation about me doing a deferred salary leave, and so that would require me to take between 10 and 33% off my salary and set it aside in this program. But that would be like a minimum of $700 a month. And we don't really have that kind of space in our budget right now to be like taking that kind of a hit. So the realization is that I need a second job. So that is where I'm at right now, is that I got to think about what I want to do, because I really want to do that deferred leave program. And I got to think about what I want to do, but I got to get another job. So I got to do that.
Oh my God, seriously?
Not even joking, sissy.
What the hell would you do for a second job?
That's what I got to think about it, but it's got to be soon that I get something.
Well, have you ever wanted to try bartending or waitressing? Because you could make sweet cash doing that.
Yeah, I put it on my 40s list that I'd like to be a waitress sometime, but for this part right now, I'm not exactly sure what I want to do.
I don't love this for you, sis.
Why?
Having to work all the time?
It's for me, so I can take 6 months off of work.
Okay, fair enough then. Okay.
Like, it's something that I
Short-term
really, really
pain
want.
for a long-term gain.
Yeah, I mean, it's long-term pain because it's 5 years.
Long-term pain
It's
for
long-term pain unless there was like a substantial amount of pay increases. But honestly, I don't want that much more responsibility in my work, in my day job. So yeah, like you got to choose your battles. And right now I'm like,
Choose your battles, okay?
so this one, yeah, so I got to think about that a little bit more.
Well, I really want to get a part-time job at the bookstore, but I'm not sure that being a university student is going to allow for that. Maybe over the month of December.
Like at Chapters Indigo.
Yeah, just for like the holiday season, when they need seasonal help.
Yeah, well, you'll be done writing finals by middle of December.
Yeah, so maybe I could work there, like even just a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
One day.
So always talking to Zen is always a high. It was just a little bit of a come to Jesus moment for me that I got to get a second job if I want to have a deferred salary, but that's okay.
Yep.
Okay. Other peaks. I had my Sashiko class.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even hear about this yet.
Yeah.
I was listening to the podcast yesterday and I was like, I haven't heard about how the Shasiko class went. Good job on the editing of the podcast, sister, by the way. I always like to text you that.
It went well. And this was I made a lavender satchel.
That's great.
So it's pretty cute. Like, so there's many different, this is just one stitch style.
Is the stars like that was a blank piece of fabric and then you put the little stars on it?
They're little crosses, but yes.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So anyways, so that's what I made.
Gives it a big sniff.
Yeah, because it's lavender in there.
Oh, I can almost smell it from here.
Yeah. So did that. That was lovely. I don't know if embroidery arts are my thing though, but
Okay, fair enough. Like,
you know.
no cross stitching for you in your future.
So even, it's not bad.
No petty point.
It's not like the worst hobby, but like it's just, I didn't really like spark my wanted to really, it just didn't really spark my creativity, but that's okay. Anyways, okay. We went to another peak is that we went to Nipaka for a night. It's the eco resort. And so when I got there, I just went and walked and walked and walked and walked as much as I could. I was out there for a couple hours, walked with people. I walked by myself. It was all good. And then on Monday, I had a course on psychosocial needs after a disaster. And so that was very interesting about what an individual needs, what a team needs, what a community needs after a disaster happens. So yeah. Okay. Plans. Right now, I am not too sure what my plans are. Sean and I were supposed to do a 13-kilometer hike on Sunday and sleep in the backcountry, but the overnight low is 2 degrees Celsius and the high is only 14. So that is not happening because that is too cold for me to be. I might as well freeze to death at 2 degrees overnight. That's too cold.
Not good for you.
No, that's like hypothermia. Anyways.
I wouldn't like that anymore either. Like at one point I'd think that'd be adventurous. And now I'm like, no, I'd rather just a hot tub.
Yeah. Yeah. I was in my head thinking like I could probably do 10 degrees. And then I was like, absolutely not. It has to be at least 15 degrees overnight for me to want to sleep in the backcountry. So 2 degrees is very far from 15.
Not great.
And there's no way that you could even warm up when the daytime high is only 14 degrees. Like it's just cold all around.
No, and then once you get the chill on and you're damp and because you were sweating and yada yada, it's like, no, you can't even. That's just no bueno. Like it's uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. So if that doesn't happen, I don't know what we'll do on Sunday. And Monday, if we're not doing anything, I might go and volunteer at the thrift store. And that I think might have to be my last shift because I'm going to have to give that up to get my side gig, get my part-time job happening. So
yeah,
disappointing, but in the long run, my deferred salary leave will be worth every day will be worth it. Anyways, that's it from me, Sissy.
Awesome. Well, you guys, you know the drill. If you love the podcast, share it with your friends, family, all the people that you love. Give it a like, comment, all that good stuff. If you haven't subscribed to us, Please subscribe on whatever listening platform or streaming platform you use. If you want to find us on social media, you can find Stacey on LinkedIn and Facebook. You can find myself, Krista, on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And you can find Sister Social Call on Instagram. I think that's going to wrap it up for us, sis.
Love you, sissy.
Love you too.